Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping straight into, well, a really fascinating gardening journal. It's from Ang, a dedicated propagator.
Yeah, and what we have is this incredibly detailed, hands-on story about growing Zinnia Elegant.
Right, from the absolute beginning, getting the seed, all the way to, apparently, a really spectacular bloom happening right now.
And this is just gold for us. It's not theory, not just general tips. It's specific, step-by-step, something repeatable.
So, our mission today.
Well, I think we need to pull out the key moves Ang made strategically. Look at the problems they hit, like disease, some structural stuff.
And figure out the fixes, right?
Yeah.
How did they actually pull it off?
Exactly. It's about how they got these results, the mechanics of it.
What grabs me straight away is that Ang didn't start the usual way, non-traditional seed strategy.
Right out of the gate, yeah. And then they hit these roadblocks that, honestly, would make a lot of us just give up.
But they didn't. The notes say the garden is blooming splendidly. It's kind of a lesson in sticking with it, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Resilience and maybe some smart environmental control, too.
Okay, so resilience. To get that, you said we need to start right at the beginning, with the seed.
Yeah, let's start there, the absolute foundation.
Because most people, including me probably, you start propagation, you go buy seeds, or order them online.
Yep, which gives you an unknown, really, genetically speaking.
But Ang did something different, totally DIY, it sounds like.
Completely. Ang skipped the store, which is pretty bold.
What was the strategy then?
They actually harvested seeds directly from mature Zinnia Elegant plants, not from a packet.
Okay, so saving seeds, which isn't just about saving money, is it?
No, not at all. It's strategic. It's about predictability, knowing what you're likely to get.
And this wasn't just a random guess for Ang, was it? They knew this could work.
That's the key. The notes, Ang's logs, they show this method had worked before on a completely different plant, actually.
What?
With Torenia. That's mentioned way back in part 436 of the notes. So there was this confidence already built in.
Right, so they could assume, okay, these seeds are probably good, probably strong.
Exactly. A high chance of good germination, strong genetics. It lets you focus elsewhere.
Because gardening always throws curveballs. If your seeds are solid, you can worry about the soil, the water, the light.
Precisely. And the notes do confirm it worked. The Zinnia seeds germinated well, gave good results, as Ang put it, a strong genetic start.
So the first big takeaway for you listening. If you can harvest seeds from a plant that you know did well in your conditions.
You take a lot of guesswork out of the equation. It's a proven technique, documented twice now, Torenia, then Zinnia. That's a solid blueprint.
Okay, so great seeds. But even great seeds can struggle, right? The environment kicked in.
Oh, yeah. That strong start got tested pretty quickly. The notes mentioned some environmental challenges.
But the final spot where the zinnias ended up, that was the key.
It seems so. Ang tried a couple of locations, but the journal really highlights the area near the backyard balcony, that specific spot.
And why there? What made it the optimal microclimate?
Well, optimal microclimate tells us it's more than just sunshine hours. It suggests that spot gave the plants exactly what they needed to recover from stress.
What would that be, typically, for zinnias near a balcony?
It often means things like good morning sun, but maybe some protection from really harsh afternoon heat or wind.
Ah, okay, wind protection makes sense.
Yeah, and a balcony structure, like walls, can sometimes hold a bit more humidity, buffer winds. It just helps the plants manage everything better, especially, if they're already stressed or fighting something off.
Which brings us to the scary part.
Yeah.
Fighting something off, the disease. Ang nearly lost them.
Yeah, that's right. Part 652 of the notes details this run-in with a fungal disease, and Ang genuinely doubted they'd survive it.
What kind of fungus, typically? Powdery mildew.
That's the most likely culprit for zinnias. It's common, can spread fast, looks awful.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a really close call.
So wait, if they had this bad fungal disease, how did they end up blooming splendidly? What was the actual fix? Did Ang spray something? Well, this is where that microclimate seems crucial. The notes don't focus on a chemical cure. It seems like putting them in that optimal spot, the balcony area.
Gave them the conditions to fight back.
Exactly. It reduced the external stress. Less wind drying them out, maybe less intense midday sun scalding them. That allowed the plants to put their energy into recovery, into growth.
So they basically outgrew the disease because the environment was so supportive.
That seems to be the implication. The location itself was the intervention. Environmental optimization, not necessarily a direct treatment mentioned.
Wow. That really drives home the point about location, location, location. Even with great seeds, the wrong spot.
And you're constantly battling fungus, pests, whatever. But here, the right spot seems to have tipped the balance, even with a serious health issue.
Okay, so success story, right? Good seeds, found the perfect microclimate, beat the fungus, but success can create new problems.
It definitely can. And that leads us neatly into the next big thing in the journal, the leggy issue.
Ah, the dreaded leggy stems. This was noted as a management mistake, wasn't it?
A clear omission, yeah. The notes are pretty blunt about it. The legginess happened because Aang didn't prune or pinch the plants back when they were seedlings.
Okay, explain pinching for anyone not familiar. Why does not doing that make them leggy?
So plants have this thing called apical dominance. The very top bud sends signals telling the plant basically grow straight up.
Right.
When you pinch off that top bud on a young seedling, you break that signal. The plant then goes, okay, I guess I'll grow sideways then. It puts energy into side branches and makes the main stem thicker, stronger.
And if you skip that?
If you skip it, especially in good growing conditions like Aang found, the plant just shoots straight up. Tall, often thin, kind of spindly. Etiolation is part of it, reaching for light, but it's mostly structural weakness here.
So the success beating the fungus, growing fast in that great spot, actually made the leggy problem worse.
Kind of, yeah. More growth, more eventual flower weight, all on a weak, unbranched stem that wasn't prepared for it. It couldn't support itself.
Which meant Aang had to step in and fix it physically.
Had to. The notes mention the consequence directly. The leggy plants needed a trellis for support. They had to be staked or caged.
So that trellis, it's a sign of success because the plants are blooming,
Yeah.
but also a sign of, well, something missed earlier.
Precisely. It's the physical evidence of that skipped pinching step. It represents an avoidable cost, maybe small stakes, maybe a cage, plus the time to install it.
Time that could have been saved by just pinching the seedlings weeks before.
Exactly. Just a few seconds per plant back then, so it's a great lesson. Even with success, like the bloom, there are these foundational steps like pruning that you just can't skip if you want strong, self-sufficient plants.
It defines success differently, doesn't it? Not just flowers, but how easily the plant produces them.
Well said. Efficiency and resilience built in.
Okay, so the zinnia is an annual. Its life cycle is winding down eventually. Aang's already planning ahead, though, right? 2 different plans.
Yep, already thinking about the next generation. Plan A is pretty straightforward.
I would guess. More seed saving.
You got it. Back to the original strategy. Harvest seeds from the spent flowers when the plant is done, closing the loop, carrying forward those successful genetics.
Makes sense. Stick with what works. But plan B is different.
Plan B is moving into vegetative propagation. Aang has started taking cuttings from the zinnia.
Ah, cuttings. Like snippets of stem to root.
Exactly. And the notes say this appears to be working so far. So it's still early days for that method, it seems.
Okay, hold on. Why do both? If the seed saving works so well, why bother with cuttings, which can be, well, a bit more fiddly?
Good question. It's about genetic security, really. Hedging your bets.
How so?
Seeds, plan A, come from pollination. Sexual reproduction, that always introduces some natural genetic variation. Maybe slight changes, maybe it crossed with another zinnia nearby. You don't get an exact copy.
Okay.
Cuttings, plan B, are vegetative. You're literally cloning the parent plant. Every cutting should grow into a plant that is genetically identical to the one it came from.
Ah, so cuttings guarantee you keep those exact successful traits with no variation.
Precisely. It locks down that specific genetic profile. Seeds give you resilience and numbers, potentially adapting over time. Cuttings give you perfect copies, consistency.
So Aang's being really thorough, ensuring the line continues both through the natural seed cycle and by creating exact clones. That's pretty advanced planning.
It really shows an ongoing experimental mindset, doesn't it? Even within this successful run, they're still testing, comparing methods, balancing seed efficiency with cutting purity.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Let's crystallize the key takeaways from Aang's Zinnia journey for you, the listener.
Right. First, that power of using your own harvested seeds, especially when you know they've worked before, like with Aang's Torenia and now Zinnia, control the genetics early.
Second, the critical role of the microclimate. That backyard balcony spot wasn't just nice. It was key to overcoming that serious fungal disease. Location matters immensely.
Yeah. And third, that hard lesson about timely maintenance. Skipping the early pinching led directly to the leggy issue and the need for that trellis later. Don't ignore foundational work.
So Aang has this reliable seed method now, proven twice. Low effort, good results.
And now they're trying cuttings, More work, maybe needs more specific conditions, and the notes only say it appears to be working so far.
That contrast is interesting.
It really is. And maybe that's the final thought for you to consider. Eng's seed method seems pretty efficient, right? Gets lots of plants, they're resilient. How will that really stack up long term against the effort and maybe lower initial success rate of cuttings?
Yeah, the trade-off. Proven efficiency versus guaranteed genetic copies.
Exactly. Which method gives the best return for the effort, especially if you want to scale up? That's something every gardener has to weigh up eventually. Seeds or cuttings, or maybe both like Eng.
Excellent point. Lots to think about there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Eng's Zinnia's success story, seeds, struggles, and all.
See you next time.